dramatic principle known as Chekhov's ukulele states that if a ukulele appears in the background of the first act of a YouTube video, in the second act, someone will pick up the ukulele and play it. Oh, come on. Welcome to the Kava Flow. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kava Flow. I have our famous, amazing Kapmcrunk, Jimmy Price here. And Jimmy is the owner of the Kava Forums. And I'm super, super excited to have him here because he's someone that's been able to kind of create a community and foster that community for many, many years, as tiresome and hard as that might be. So very excited to have you, Jimmy. Thank you for having or for joining us today. So let's get this thing started. Jimmy, who is Jimmy Price?
Morgan, my name is Jimmy. I've been running the Kava Forum since 2012, 2013, and I can say that I own it, but I don't run it. There's a lot of people that run it in the background that you don't see. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background. But I work for my family business. We do restaurant refrigeration. I fell into Kava randomly. I was a recovering addict, still a recovering addict, but walked into Whole Foods wondering what I could do for my anxiety issues. And I went to the herbal section and picked up the Gaia Herbs Kava pills, went home and took them as directed. And it actually worked. It actually reduced my anxiety and helped me sleep and all that good stuff. But what it did, I think I overdid it one day. I took 3 and then 3 and then 3 again. And then I realized what Kava did. I was like, there's something to this. There's definitely something to this. Where I saw Kava work the first time, and I didn't even know it because I didn't know what to look for. I didn't know what I was seeing. I was in college. My roommate at the time had some pretty severe OCD issues. I would go outside in the middle of the night, check all of his car door locks, his windows, and everything, just to make sure. We bought some extract off of I Am Shaman, I believe is what it was, way back, at least 2004 maybe. Ate them on tortilla chips, and that was great. It didn't do anything to me, nothing at all. But my friend, he remarked at how his OCD was almost completely gone. He said that he'd never felt the clarity in just being able to stand there and not have to obsess over everything that he was obsessing over. He went on and on about this, and I was like, well, that's really cool. I didn't think anything else about it until I found I was standing in the Whole Foods looking at the pills, and I was thinking, maybe there's something to this, and there's definitely something to it. And it's more than I thought it was. Not only was I reducing the anxiety, it reduced my impulses to go out. And at the time, I just quit opiates and everything. And during that time, I completely, I don't know if it just removed my my impulsive behavior or my desire for what I was using, but it completely ripped that desire and that need out. It was something I didn't actually fully comprehend until months later. Until I was like, what happened? What is going on here? And I've noticed that I wasn't thinking about the same things anymore. I wasn't doing the same things anymore. And there was more to it than it just being a substance. I felt like there was far more to it. And there had to be a community of people out there, maybe that knew something about it. So to the internet, went searching on the internet, and there was really nothing out there. There was really, at 2003, 2004, 5, you'd find something about it on Irowit or I Am Shaman, maybe a little blue light here and there, but there was nothing. There was no reputable people explaining what Kava was in a way that it was oh, this isn't a dangerous drug that I'm definitely going to get addicted to and probably kill myself over. And that was my thought. I went into it very cautiously, just because I had just come out of all that too. But I knew that there had to be something going on community-wise, but there wasn't. And I guess it was about around that time when Doug started up the Yuku Forum, and it went from there. I mean, it was just it was really tiny community, probably what, maybe 50 people, 60 people. I think the maximum number of people who were on at one time was like 18 or 20 at
Mm-hmm.
the time that we had this. All these people were going there, but we hung out there forever and decided it was time for a change, and that's where Kava Forums came along. We wanted to be able to like some people's posts. We didn't have a like function,
Sure.
and Facebook had just rolled out their like function, and I wanted a like function, so did other people, and that's kind of how we got our start. We just wanted to we wanted to have a bit more functionality than Yuku, and I got the blessing from Doug. I probably messaged and texted. I didn't text him. I messaged him and emailed him for months. I was like, hey man, can I take your idea and use it? Can I make something else out of it? And I never heard back because he was in South Africa the entire time. Once I did hear back, he was like, yeah, sure, and just don't.
Now, but before you continue on,
Go ahead.
you're when you say Doug, you're meaning Kava Sewer.
Kava Sewer.
Yep.
I'm sorry, the
Yep.
Kava Sewer. I should have.
No worries. There's a lot of people who might not know Doug as or Kava Sewer as Doug, right?
Yes, gotcha.
So cool.
But we started up Kava Forums. Oh gosh, where was that? Let's see here. Doug gave me his blessing, and he did say there were a few stipulations in this, and it was make sure that Kava Forums doesn't turn into a drug forum. He didn't want to be a druggy, like, just people coming in and talking about drugs, how to get drugs and all that stuff. Didn't want
exactly what you were looking for too, right?
So yeah. we kind of meshed together on that, and I just try. And honestly, I was just like, I wonder, let's get on Google and see how to make a web forum, and that's how it started. I have no idea, no clue how to make a website, web forum, nothing. It's all scratch, all built from Zenforo software platform, and but that was just my contribution. Oh gosh, the help that I've received with Kava Forums has been astronomical.
Well, let's get into into that stuff a little bit later. We'll really dig into that stuff because I feel like I agree. That's the meat of the Kava Forums, right? Mm-hmm. That's a super cool part about it. Rewinding a little bit, when you were talking about, you suffered through an opiate addiction and you're still recovering now. How long ago was that?
Well, it was about 10 to 15 years ago. Was the first time I was fresh out of college and got into the wrong things. And I picked it up again just to remind myself how awful it was. I really don't know. No one ever really knows why they did. It's just like,
sure.
I thought I could beat it this time. But that was about 2 to 3 years ago. And I got out of that. And with actually, I'll bring up how I got out of it later when we talk about the way Kava might be construed with another substance later.
Sure. Oh, okay. All right. So we're going to bring that up. All right. Cool.
I'm fine with it.
I think I have an idea about what substance you're talking about.
Yeah, maybe. I'll start with that. I'm not sure. We'll see.
So that's pretty cool. Now you are currently living in Tennessee. Is that right?
Nashville. Mm-hmm.
All right. Beautiful, beautiful Nashville. I'm sure the. Is that the Google Fiber deal?
The fiber is coming, but they never did.
No.
Google, you never showed up.
What's going on, Google? Give me a break. Jimmy's dissatisfied.
Very.
So when you're living there, the weather is not like 118 like it is here in Phoenix. Nice place. Probably gonna live there for a while longer, I imagine.
Oh sure. Mm-hmm. I love
it. Yeah.
It's grown up. It's gotten better. It's gone from a small sleepy town to like a large city. It's actually grown up since I've lived here from nothing. It's exploded. I think if you follow the hockey at all, you'll know that the Predators were pretty high up in the ring. I'm not going to pretend like I understand or know anything about hockey because I don't. But it's just everything. Every time I turn around, Nashville's in the news, Nashville this, Nashville that, and it's kind of crazy because I remember being a teenager thinking, I've got to get out of this 2-horse town. Like, I've got to get out of here. There's nothing going on here. and now everything's going on here. Everybody's moving here. I think we have Johnny Depp. We have oh gosh, the White Stripes guy.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Jack White?
Jack White lives right down the street from my parents.
That's awesome.
And there's
Is
a
that
whole
why is that why you have a keyboard in the corner or two keyboards? Are you a keyboardist?
I am slightly on and off. I have a whole bunch of other audio equipment around here. It's just kind of stuff that I play with. I don't really get into it that much. I used to play a piano when I was a kid, and I just kept pecking around with it. So
hey, I'm the same way. I got the guitars, the ukulele, the drums in the back. I got some more drums elsewhere.
Nice.
Same exact thing. Not very good, but
Yeah.
It's fun.
Guilty.
Cool. So you're a musical kind of guy, and so you talked a little bit about finding those Gaia pills at like a Whole Foods, right? And you started to like that. It seemed like it would be something that would work, and it was because of anxiety. That's how you got into it? You just kind of felt
anxiety, sleep. And sleep was a big deal.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I don't know what it is about me, but when I lay down, if I'm not asleep in like 12 seconds, I'm mad about it. Like, I have to be fast. And Kava does that. Kava really can get you to sleep very fast, depending on which Kava strain it is. I'll drink my Kava at exactly 10 o'clock, and by 10:15, it will be like, I'm not going to make it. There's no way I'm going to get off this couch. It's just not happening. But
sure.
That's just kind of what I gravitated towards that, and just the positive outlook it kind of gave you. It was an antidepressant of sorts. It reduced my incessant thinking on just random stuff. I almost cussed there, but it just reduced my chatter between my ears, and that was a big deal. Everything about it was very it was monumental. Every single quality it had, to me, it just screamed like, why don't people know about this? Like, why is this not everywhere? Why do people not know that this is a viable option for their depression, their anxiety, or from what I understand, the depression actually will stem from the anxiety. So I can see how that would be a really good antidepressant as well. Of course, I'm not a doctor at all.
Sure.
I don't play one on the forums either, and we want to take that seriously too.
I think that's
people to think that this is like it's like perfect. It's easy for me to put forth the image of Kava that's like this panacea, this perfection, the greatest plant on earth, the cannabis of the new times. But it has its shortcomings, and it has its pitfalls, and it has some issues, that should be addressed and talked about as as reality, and we should deal with things in reality. Sure. But there are so many good qualities about
it. Has
Kava.
Its place. Definitely has its place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you I'm also not a doctor, but throughout the years, have you seen situations in which Kava has played a role in helping your life when you did not originally intend for it?
The whole addiction issue was taking Kava affected without me even being the slightest clue of what it was going to do. I just look back and realize that it curtailed my desires, and it curtailed my like. It stops. I used to how do I put this into words? Kava will allow me to, instead of reacting to a situation, allow me to respond to it.
Sure.
Instead of the knee-jerk reaction, Kava kind of puts a block right there. Like right when I'm about to make a knee-jerk reaction, it stops that. And that's a really big unintended consequence or side effect of Kava, which has been excellent, because there's so many times where I'm like, God, I wish I hadn't said that, or I wish I hadn't done that.
Mm-hmm.
And Kava gives you pause to kind of momentarily think about it for a second before you do it. And that was just something that was just like, oh gosh, all right, so we got something here.
Mm-hmm.
Really awesome.
So it helped you get through your addictions. It's helped you calm the chatter in your head, helped you sleep. Yep. And it also helped you it sounds like in general, right? It kind of sounds like it's kind of a,
yep.
I hate, I when I first found out about Kava, um, I I was very concerned because it sounded like one of those kind of snake oil things, or something that those like super hippie,
Yeah.
like this plant will cure everything. It's going to cure your
Right.
cancer. It's going to cure your diabetes and everything all at
Yep.
once. But there's a reason that there is a dedicated, really awesome community of people that are
Yes.
out there talking about it.
Yes. And they don't
Eh,
go away. They
No.
stick around.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
Yep.
I mean, that's a beautiful thing. So, I think that that's really important for people to understand who are watching that might not know,
True.
what Kava is all about, right?
It's
Um,
true.
Kava can help in so many different ways. Again, we're not doctors.
Right.
These statements aren't being evaluated by the FDA, blah, blah, blah. But it's a great thing to look into at the very least, right? It's an option,
Very,
right?
very much.
So that's great. Now, how often do you actually drink Kava?
Daily. Every day.
Okay.
Every day. Never failed. I think I may have skipped a total of probably a month in the past 10 years drinking kava.
That's
So
that's a lot of Kava drinking.
that's a lot of kava. And I mean, it became part of my ritual. So it's like, when I go to sleep, when I go to bed, it's just like, I sit down,
Yeah.
I drink my kava, and then I go sit down for like 5 or 10 minutes. And then it's all like going to bed portion of it. But it's become part of the routine so much that I don't like, we'll go on vacation. I'm like, I gotta have some kava to drink. It doesn't even, I mean, it doesn't have to work. It just has to taste like kava, just so I can drink this and complete my routine and go to bed.
Yeah.
So it's pretty ingrained in my life at this point.
That's
I wouldn't
awesome.
do without it. It really has done so many positive things for my life. And I mean, Kava Forums is a positive thing from Kava, and Kava Forums is like my family. So I mean, that is
Totally.
definitely an unintended side effect of
I mean, I
Kava.
think people need community, right? We're social creatures, right? And so that's just another part of it, right? Sit around the Kava circle.
It is, and it makes sense because of the way kava is used traditionally in the circles that it brought people around in, and the Nakamal chat that tends to get a little crazy at times. And just like, you know what, this is actually very common for a real kava circle. Like what they talk about, and that can get
Yeah.
kind of questionable in real kava circles. That can get kind of questionable. If you read the Vincent LeBeau's book, I'm pretty sure it's Vincent LeBeau's book. They talk. Um, During the Kava circle, they'll make jokes about each other's
This one?
sexuality. Yep, that's the one. Yep, Pacific Elixir. Yeah.
Very, very familiar with this one. At this point, I think I've ingested most of it.
Yes. Yes. And those the topics that go around the Kava circles can be a little unscrupulous at times, but I think that's funny because I mean that's what I would do if I were in a Kava circle. But yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
very, very interesting.
Yeah. Shout out to the Kava Forums Nakamal chat. So with that, I have seen recently, and I mean I've known about your affinity towards these extracts, Kava extracts. Paradise Kava a few years ago, right? They're not doing that anymore. But so you are an extract hoarder of sorts. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, yeah. Part of my routine in the past was I would go to the fridge, grab a huge spoonful of kava extract, put that under my tongue, and then go drink my kava.
Sure.
So
Yeah, that
this
gives
was
you a
back.
jump start.
This is the good old days back when my skin would fall off on a regular basis, and yeah, it's just they've stayed in there. I'd say a good portion of them are empty. But the one thing you do with extract bottles is you do kava shots when you're done with them. You put hot water in them and you swirl them around and you take a swig, and that's pretty much an entire shell of kava all at once, like all one little swig there. But most of those
I've
swigs
never done that. You just
yeah,
taught me
kava
something to
shots.
do.
Yep. Oh, it's fun. It's fun. I mean, it's really heady. So if you
Yeah.
plan on going to bed, it's not gonna happen.
It's a very short-lived sort of deal
Yep.
as well, right?
But I like extracts. I don't believe they embody the full profile of kava. So if
Yeah.
someone were to say, "Hey, what's kava?" I would say, and they showed me an extract and they showed me a bag of kava powder. The kava powder is the kava.
Yeah.
I can't say that the extract does the same thing. There's a kick. There's an extra like punch to medium grind to to regular powdered kava, that the extracts just I've never felt. I think they have more kavain in them than
Yeah.
they have the others, and I think I don't respond as well to it. I like the heavier kava lactones. I like the
Okay.
Borobus and the anything basically from Vanuatu. I'm really fond of, but I like the heavier ones. And kava just
Yeah.
keeps me awake. And it makes me antsy, but not at the same time. It's very difficult to describe. It's like it's a stimulated sedation. I'm not exactly sure how, but
Hmm.
that's as close as I get to that.
That is, I mean, I think what you're saying is your, well, for some reason I can hear an echo now. Um, what you're saying is that there is like a state that you get in where you are hyper focused on everything going around you, but you're very relaxed. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
Mhm.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, and that's why I
Um,
get mad at the TV for being too loud every night.
That's exactly right. I cannot play video games. I'm an avid video game kind of guy. I play a lot of PC games. I can't watch movies. I just want to chill. You know what I mean? I'll play some guitar. You know,
Mhm.
that's about it, right?
Quiet. It has to be almost silent, just really quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the state that it puts you in. It's just, it. The one thing that I can say that Kava to look for in Kava was the headier it was, the more it felt like the room's dimensions changed all of a sudden.
Sure.
That's that was always something that came up for me. Because every time I had a really heavy kava or heady kava, it would just feel like all of a sudden I was staring out into an auditorium instead of my living room. Um, that was one of the weird things that I ever got from the heady ones. But yeah.
Sure. So, now that we know about your extract situation, what types of kava do you like the most? Now, you said you like Vanuatu kavas, which are heavier. They're not like the Fijians or the Tongans, who are much more up in the head. Do you like medium grind, instant, micro? What's your preferred?
I make traditional medium grind kava every single day. I've tried, oh, and I did successfully use micronized for a while. I kind of ruined it for myself. I drank micronized 2-day kava for about a year and a half. Um, that was a bad decision, bad mistake. No one knew anything. Even
I was gonna say, do you know that it, or
nope,
did you know
nope.
that it was 2 day at
Well,
the
I
time?
knew that it was
No.
2-day.
Yeah.
Yes, it was labeled 2-day. It
Sure.
was 2-day kava. It was sold as that. So I mean, I can't blame the person. He even asked me. I called him,
Oh,
and
sure.
Jonathan Yee was he said, what,
Oh, over at the
why are
Hawaiian.
people buying this? It's just like straight up. That's the first question he asked. Why are
Yeah.
people buying this? And I didn't really get it. Of course, at that time, I still thought, this could be illegal any day. I don't know. I didn't. I don't. I'm not really sure. Just send it. But yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you're a traditional medium grind sort of guy. So moving back, excuse me, into the Kava Forums kind of Yuku Lounge stuff. So when that first started out on the Yuku side of things, when you were there, right? Doug had created the Yuku Lounge, and he was out for a while. You wanted to create your own thing because the Yuku Lounge had some kind of lacking features. It was lacking in features. That's not correct.
It was yeah.
And then you somehow had some sort of a personal school that you had to take to figure out how to create the forums.
Pretty much, it was just I basically followed the guide step by step to set it up, and I mean, it's not too hard. It really wasn't too hard to set all that up. Now, getting everything rolling was more difficult, but getting it set up, not too bad. Just it was all a learning experience. It's still a learning experience, but the beginning part of it definitely was. We had I'd say 20-30% of the people that were on Yuku came over at first. So it was me and maybe 3 or 4 other people just playing around on Kava Forums, and that's kind of where everything solidified. The people that were there at the beginning they just kind of stayed, and that's where Kava Dude came in. That's where Head Hodge came in. They have been instrumental, just completely. I could not do without them. They've run the review coding. They've done all sorts of coding in the background that I do not understand. I call him Dr. Hodge. Mr. Hodge, Head Hodge, is I believe he's a data technician. He was he did something with databases in his job, and he's done all the database work for Kava Forums, and done all the way that the reviews aggregate all the results and produce the shell ratings and all that stuff. And we basically we just kind of went through that process of building that. I would just be like, hey, can we make something where we have shells that they can click, and it would go from there. He'd figure that out, and we'd have shells, and then we'd go to the next thing, and it would just it was just a really interesting, really involved process with a number of people. And I still regret that Kava Dude is no longer has anything to do with Kava Forums, but he was absolutely, he was the number 2 to Kava Forums. He actually he had all the username and passwords to all the accounts and everything. I wanted to make sure there was a multiple
a second in
command.
I wanted
to make sure there was just more than me. I don't like being in charge. I don't like correcting people. I don't like moderating.
Now you've had to a lot.
I don't like moderating. There's something about it. I don't like telling people they're doing something wrong. I'll do it, obviously, but it's a difficult job. It's a difficult thing to do. But that's where all my help comes in. That's where Violet and Henry and Crunky come in. That's where everybody's been helping. It has been a community effort from the ground up to now, and still is, and it always will be. I don't want me to be the focus. I don't want one thing to be the focus. I don't want, True Kava or one vendor, Paradise Kava or Gourmet Hawaiian Kava, which I've been accused of promoting senselessly. But it's about us. It's about the people that drink the kava. It's not about it. It really, what I have in the top left corner, it says Kava Forums, connecting kava lovers around the world. And I have to continue to go back to that when we get out in the left field with whether we should be allowing 2-day, or we should be, or what type of kavas we should or shouldn't be drinking. I have to go back to that occasionally and remind myself that we're here to connect everybody. And that's what Kava Forums is. We might go off on different tangents, but as long as we're fostering that connection of people that love kava, I think we're moving in the right direction.
Sure. Do you I mean, sorry, I'm getting more feedback. My head can't handle it. With the Kava Forums, it started, and I've been going there for a few years now. Right. I started out as a guy who just was a regular Joe Schmo who likes kava, right? Actually, really, who just needed to know what kava was, right? I went in and started to. I was a vendor for a while. You were really instrumental in even letting that happen, right? I want to ask you a little bit about how that happened, because I feel like you have a very, just like what you're just talking about. You don't want to be someone who's super in charge and some dictatorship sort of style thing going on. But at the same time, it's a fine line. When I went to you and I said, "Hey, Jimmy, I'm gonna start my own company, and I'm gonna be selling kava," and I remember you told me, "That's great, but," right? And you kind of gave me a little interview, right? You weren't like, "I'm just going to let you on Kava Forums," right? You weren't just like, "I don't care, that's fine, hop on." No, you wanted to make sure that I was actually doing the right things, that I wasn't selling garbage kava, that I wasn't, misrepresenting what the product was, all sorts of stuff like that. How do you feel your role is in relation to the vendors, like the Gourmet Hawaiian Kava, right? That you've been accused of
liking too much,
senselessly loving? Because from my perspective, I never felt like that ever. Just for the record, I never felt like that.
It spoke for itself. I mean,
continue.
When you have a good product, it sells itself. So I mean, people can see what they want to see. Um, but
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Um, Say the question one more time. Say the question one more time.
Sure. When you
What am I to the vendor?
have new vendors, right? Or actually, yeah, not even new vendors, but how do you view your relationship with the vendors on the forums and even off the forums? Because I could tell that there may have been situations in the past where there was a vendor who was not so good. And in fact, I can think of one particular situation, but I won't bring up the names
Lots
or
of
anything like that.
situations.
But yeah, your relationship with Kava vendors, what's it like? How do you deal
It
with it? And how do you make sure that you're not being biased?
well, the not being biased part. I mean, I drink their kava, but I mean, I really have a hard time thinking. I'm not going to senselessly promote. I try to censor myself in terms of promoting or not promoting or being critical of a person's kava. There is a set of rules for admins and people that are employed by kava vendors, and we don't we try to keep the people that are employed by kava vendors from posting information regarding that vendor or regarding other vendors. It's actually written in the terms.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I
Yep.
try to follow that rule myself. I love the kava that I love, and it could be a different kava every month. I've loved gourmet Hawaiian kava Borogu. I've loved oh man, Calm with Kava. I'm on Calm with Kava right now. Um, I've loved
Mm-hmm.
Bula Kava House. Man, I've drank Bula Kava House for years, years, years. I mean, that guy
Mm-hmm.
has a lot of my money. But
Mm-hmm.
what I am to the vendors, I try to just be a I try to be a sounding board for them. Um, I try to be someone who can take uh, possibly what I've been seeing on the forum, wrap it up in a way that they can understand that. Say that they were like, what kind of trend do you think would be coming this? Do you think people would like this? I can give them a good answer, or at least what I think is a good answer. Um, but it's
Mm-hmm.
more of a liaison between the members and the vendors. But I really don't. I mean, I can't say that I do that much between them. Um, we set them up as vendors, and then they come and they do their thing. When it comes down to allowing a vendor, actually granting a vendor that little badge, that is a process that you just can't walk in and say, "Hey, I want to be a vendor on Kava Forums. You know, set me up as a vendor."
Mm-hmm.
You have to. I want to make sure that these people understand what they're selling. They understand who they're selling to, and they understand the pitfalls that could befall them. I mean, um, there could be things that they're not thinking of. I had a vendor come to me and say, "Hey, I want to be a vendor on the Kava Forums." I said, "Okay, who are you selling? What are you selling?" You know, they were reselling another vendor's Kava, but they were selling it in Ziploc bags with black magic marker written on them with no shirt on while they were taking the picture. So I mean, yeah, we filter out. We filter the vendors that we feel could be unscrupulous, and it's not something where we're like, you have to prove yourself your worth immediately. We'll do some background stuff. We'll go back and look at their page and look at their stuff. You know, you can tell if somebody doesn't know what they're selling. It's pretty obvious. It's really quick.
Yeah.
You can be like, these people are just trying to make money. And if they're good, they know what they're talking about. They can name a few cultivars of kava, then yeah, we'd be more than happy to host them here to sell kava as long as they can um, as long as they can also prove that it's not what it has to be what it's labeled. They calling it if they're calling it
Mm-hmm.
100% noble, they should be able to prove that it's 100% noble. But that's another story. But that's
Sure.
also a good part of the story too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You also have had a real central um, responsibility within the whole Kava industry to move Kava in a right direction. And I think that a lot of different people have, and I will clarify that statement by saying you want it to go in a particular
Oh,
way.
I
Are you
lost you for a
there?
second. I'm back.
There.
I
Yep,
lost you
you're
for a
back.
second.
All right. Yeah, you're a little blurry on this side, but that's a-okay. Um,
Say that again because I think it would write out when you were talking.
Oh, okay. Okay. So Jimmy, you have a very interesting role because uh, you have a certain idea about where Kava should go, where the industry should go, right?
Hmm.
And there's a lot of conflicting opinions.
Yes.
Do we care about noble Kava? Do we care about two-day Kava? Do we care about kratom? Do we care about labeling Kava in a certain way? All sorts of different issues. Um, this is going to be a very vague question, but where should Kava go? What are we doing? Are we going in the right direction? Are we, should we be doing other things, or than we're already doing, or what? How do you feel like the direction of Kava is going right now, and what would you do to change it if you were the real Kapmcrunk for the entire Kava industry and you could control them all?
Um, I would take kratom out of kava bars, and
Oh, first thing,
I would,
wow.
yep, number one, because it is giving kava such a negative image, such a negative image, and I need to qualify myself here first for everybody
Sure.
that does think positively of kratom, because there are a lot of people, and I was one of them, and I still am. But kratom is, it's one of those, it's it has a very specific purpose. I mean, that's in my opinion. I want to word this the right way, because I don't want to say it the wrong way.
It's a sticky subject for sure.
It really is. I used it myself to relieve myself of opiate withdrawals, and it works. It works. It actually does, and it can get you off of some really strong, terrible opiates. It has a place, and has a very important place in society. It's just not next to kava. It's not next to kava. What's happening? It's getting a whole bunch of negative attention because it is an opiate. People will argue with me about that, but if it activates, if it activates the mu opioid receptors, guess what? It's an opioid. I mean, that's just kind of
Hmm.
what it sounds like to me. I mean, I'm once again not a doctor, and I'm not a you know I'm not a pharmacist either, but I understand enough to think that people are confusing them.
You
And
don't have to be a scientist to feel
yeah,
those effects and
right.
recognize that they feel the exact same when you're taking opiates.
Yep. It feels like a hydrocodone tea. That's what it feels
Exactly.
like.
Exactly.
And it's I worry about it being explained away too easily. I worry about it being just put down in a way that you could accidentally drink it. Um,
Hmm.
they talk about it like it's coffee. They say it's, oh, it'll wake you up in the morning. Oh, it'll keep you going. Yeah, so will an OxyContin. So will a hydrocodone. Those things will keep you going and get you. They'll wake you up in the morning too.
Yeah.
And these people could accidentally walk into a life of living hell. Um, and that's the thing. It's a stepping stone. Um, when if you're like me and you have prior opiate issues in your past, never to take them. Never, ever, ever. Not any like almost no reason unless I'm in the hospital while I take an opiate. I know where it leads me. People that don't know that about kratom, because it's been whitewashed in a way, because
Hmm.
it's been people that are addicted to it really want to keep it around. I
Yeah.
understand that, but it doesn't need to be sold with kava. The people, I don't know what needs to happen. Obviously, we're kind of pushing up the rear of this. This has been going on for a long time. Kava rode in on the coattails of the legal high industry in America, into the consciousness of Americans. Back 2003, 2002, Kava wasn't necessarily. I mean, no one knew anything about it. No one knew anything. There were no posts. There were very little information about this at all on the internet or anywhere really. I mean, Dr. Lavelle probably was the only bit of information you could find at the library. And Kava would I believe, from what I remember seeing, is that Kava slowly rode in to our consciousness through this wave of legal highs that everyone, of course, was knocking down left and right. Every CNBC news special during the time was new drug to kill your children. So I mean, it rode in during that wave. So I understand why it has like a default negative connotation to it in American culture, just because it's like, oh, what is that? Oh, I don't know what that is. We're conditioned to say no to things we don't know. Thanks, Nancy
Sure.
Reagan. But Kava, I don't know. I don't know how to explain that, but yeah.
Well, so and let me clarify one thing for you then, or at least ask you a question that is a clarifying question. Are you advocating for a ban of kratom in general,
No.
or are you okay?
No.
And so what you're saying then is you're fine with kratom.
Yep.
You're not fine with combining kava and kratom in the same establishment or in the same way, sold by the same people.
Using Kava's reputation to sell kratom is not okay.
Exactly.
It's
That's the most succinct way to say that, right? Very different substances. They're conflated all the time.
Yes.
And they could cause a lot of problems. Kava is very safe. Doesn't have the addiction issues that that kratom has.
Right.
And if those two are interchanged, which when I was a vendor, I had many more than one email from folks that thought they were buying kratom.
Wow.
So it really concerns me when you say it's not a big deal, because I guarantee people have bought kratom thinking that it's kava. Yeah. And when you talk about the amount of kava powder you're using versus the amount of kratom powder you need to use,
that's a big deal. Yeah.
Very concerning. So, not a fan. Not a fan. No. Okay, so kratom is something that you would take out of the industry entirely. What else in the kava movement would you change? Is there anything?
These dabbable kava extracts. These people that are selling extracts to vaporize on a hot nail, and there's just not enough information available about kava to really truly know what we're doing when we're inhaling it. We don't know. We just don't know. I don't think there's room for that. It's not traditional. It's questionable. I wish they didn't have it. I wish they weren't out there, but it's part of the ecosystem at this point.
What about Noble Clouds?
Noble Clouds. See, the thing about them, I talk to them. I've actually face-to-face talked to them, and they have the right vision. They have the right. They have the right knowledge. They actually talk about Noble Kava. They're like, this isn't used to get people into kava per se. It's just something we want to allow people to open the door for this. If they don't want to necessarily drink it, maybe they could have a different avenue of consuming it at this point. But that's one thing. Also, the vaporization temperatures are way lower with their setup than it would be on a hot nail. It'd be 700 degrees on a hot nail, 200-300 degrees, maybe less, or maybe even less on a maybe a little more on an E6 setup, but definitely nowhere near the 700 range you'd see with a hot nail setup. So there's no telling what that's doing. I don't know what that's converting into. I don't think any other kava products. I'm a big traditional guy. I like if it embodies the traditional spirit of kava. I think the individual servings are a great idea. Other than you probably need to cut whatever the individual dose size that you're used to in half for the general public before people start calling and saying, "Oh, I got sick and threw up and fell down the stairs," But and there's a lot of issues with that, I think. But right now, there's nothing I didn't wish I saw in the kava industry. Other than that guy's gut in that one picture that I saw, other than that, I don't think so. But
it's awesome.
So what's
Okay,
it like?
so what is it like to maintain the Kava Forums?
It's an interesting job. And I'll say that it's a job because it is.
Mm-hmm.
It requires continual vigilance. Uh, it's fun. It's fun in the way that you get to communicate with other people about the topics that you like, and you actually get to move things forward. You get to help people. Um, it's awesome. I guess I can say that it's amazing, and it's an honor to be able to do it, to be able to be the person back there doing it. And I don't want to say it like that, because it's an honor for me, and it's an honor for me to be involved with the people that I'm involved with. Everyone has been absolutely just like, I mean, just outpouring of support and help. I mean, when we get people that, I mean, this is, I'll reference these posts. I always do, because they really are the most powerful posts to me of Kava Forums, are the people that they're random, never been on there, first post. Hi, I'm blank. I tried Kava and now I don't feel like drinking as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is just outstanding. And it drives home that I'm extremely just honored to be able to call this something that I'm helping doing, because I'm not doing it. I'm helping doing it, because Crunky, Violet, Henry, Head Hodge, all the whole crew are just you couldn't, I couldn't ask for anyone better. Just, they're really good people, really eager to help. Crunky, I wake up in the morning with messages from Crunky on my phone. It's an all day sort of thing. It's a continual job, but it's a passion. So it's not something that's, it can cause me some issues and anxiety. I don't want to have to tell people, hey, cut that out, or hey, we're not that kind of forum. I don't like having to correct people, and it does cause me some internal strife to have to. But that's also where Violet and Henry come in.
Yeah.
They're very good at moderating. They're very good at keeping the peace and explaining something very, very down to earth, and they can really, really help you. I mean, we've only banned a few people, a couple of them very regrettably. One of them very regrettably, of course, he's back, but we've only banned a few people, and the ones that are banned were just, I mean, it was such, it's something that would keep me up at night to ban someone. I would lose sleep over it, and it's not something I want to press a button and just laugh maniacally like, ha, like go away forever. It's a real personal thing. It's a real one-on-one thing. It's a real, it hits me deep in the center of the chest, when I have to do something that I, don't really feel like we should ever have to do. I believe that we can always reach a logical and a conclusion, and we can always talk about things and not have to resort to banning someone instantly. So, but now spammers, I'll ban the hell out of spammers. I love some spammers. Bring them on.
That's my boy.
Yeah, woo. That's right. Give me a kitchen. Need a kitchen. If you're from the old Yuku forums, you'll remember all the kitchen ads.
Yeah.
Tons of kitchen ads.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, I mean, you started the forums because you wanted to have an inclusive environment, right? You didn't want to keep people out. No, that wasn't the point. So it makes sense that you kind of lose sleep over that.
Yep.
So what are you the most proud of? The community, the Kava Forums community. What are you the most proud of in regards to that wonderful community we know?
Our welcoming nature, and our it's just like innate need to help people. Every time someone posts, it doesn't go very long, 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe, without someone coming in and really putting a really good thought out post together. I mean, like, some of these posts, the quality of our members is probably the number one thing. I mean, it really is. When someone will sit down and take half an hour to write out a 500-word response to your question, like, that's fantastic. You can't get that anywhere else. There's no Twitter you're going to get that on. It's invaluable. You can't get the questions answered like you can here in other places, and that is a huge thing. Another thing I'm really, really proud about, and it was a community effort, and of course it kind of dissolved into community chaos, but True Kava. Very happy. I was very happy with True Kava. That was a community effort. It turned into kind of his own thing, which it had to. It really needed to. It didn't need to be part of Kava Forums. It needed to be its own operating individual thing. But True Kava and our members. I mean, I know that's like cliche. It's like our members. I can't do without them. But like for real, dude. Like the people that visit Kava Forums, like just quality individuals, quality, really good people. And I mean, I see it all. I mean, I see everybody's posts. So, I mean, it's like I see everything. So I know this. I mean, it's just chock full of good people, chock full of good messages and good help. So I mean, there's really that's my number one thing. It's just the people there. Obviously, without it, it would just be me being a weirdo. So I mean, thank you.
It'd just be you just responding to your own posts over and over again. That's true, though. I mean, I'm glad that you bring that up because I would feel very comfortable if we had like a Phoenix, Kava Circle. I would go. I would have people over to my house. I honestly would because I do feel like the vast majority of folks that are on there are just good people who want to do good things and just want to hang out and drink some kava, right? I've met a lot of people personally, kava people, and every single one of them are just down to earth, good people. So totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that has occurred on the Kava Forums that you're not proud of the community?
Yeah. I like to publicly apologize to Ivan Verticity for our little issue we had. I understand his point, and I hope he understands mine. And I want nothing but positive things for him. It was a whole disaster. It was a perfect storm of me being fed up with having to moderate when I should have had more moderators. I mean, it's my fault. I mean, I let it go the way it did. I mean, it could have been stopped very quickly. I left my moderators with no choice of what to do. And I just was like, take care of this. Take care of this. They took care of it. They did. They took care of it. And well, he got banned and that was regrettable. It really was, but things happen. I do feel bad about that. I did lose sleep over that. It's not fun, and especially when someone like Verticity, who's been around for so long, I was a hardhead. What I'd done is I had opened up the addiction and recovery subforum so it could be searched. So it could come up in a Google search so people could see if they wanted to quit drinking. I thought I was all justified. I thought I had all the right answers, I got this. We're just going to do this. No one's going to say a word. I don't know what I thought. I guess that's what I thought. And Ivan came in and he was straight to the point of what he wanted. And I should have listened. And, I mean, it was a regrettable situation. But other than that, that's the only thing that I really do regret. Kava Forums. Other than that, everything else, anything that's happened with some of the vendors that we've had, no. But with Ivan, yeah, I do. I regret that. And but I mean, it looks like he's doing well. He still posts, and I see him on Facebook, and I see him all over the place. So, I guess we call it growing pains.
Sure.
No one should have to deal with that, and from now on, that's not going to be a problem. That's we have a certain system set up to where to ban someone, you have to have this many people agree. I have to agree. These people. I mean, it's a whole system set up now. That gave birth to our system now. So
interesting.
I guess in a way, it actually it kind of rearranged us and caused me to have to go after things a different way. So I mean, it turned out all right.
Ivan is the man.
Yeah.
I mean, he really is the man. Like if you think about any of the members that we have, right? You mentioned Head Hodge being the guy who's a database guru, right? And I mean, just all the guys that put stuff together, right?
Yes.
Ivan's the guy who's like the independent lone wolf who's like, I'm going to become a Kava scientist. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to study wavelength spectrum, this and that and whatever stuff that I don't understand because I'm just an idiot. I don't know. I'm just this guy who just...
I don't get it either, man. I
hey,
don't get it.
I'll let him do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And we need that. Like, we need these
We
people that
need
are on
them.
fire for it. Like we need all of the fire and the fervor we can get for Kava, because that's where our help is going to come from. That's where
Yeah.
pushing Kava in the right direction is going to come from. I mean, if you know anything about Kava, and if you know anything about the whole situation, the things these people are saying, like Ivan and the people that run the Kava industry, it makes sense. They make sense. It's not something you can sit and debate about. It's like, oh, okay, well, this is scientifically making sense. So,
Yeah.
you know, you can't. I have a hard time arguing against science, because I'm just not. I won't do that. It was very difficult, and this brings up another difficult time of Kava Forums, when we had the whole 2-day movement, and the vendors were mad, and I was trying to
I lost
walk
sleep
the
over
line
that one.
between the two, and it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare, but we got through that. And what was I saying? Oh shit, I lost it, man.
Well, you're talking about the 2-day movement. You
oh man. I don't know where that was going, Morgan.
Well, hey, you know what? If it comes up, you just let me know, and we will talk about it. Yeah, I mean, I think that the 2-day topics were quite interesting, because it was a tumultuous time on the forums,
yes,
right? You have a lot of characters who, I feel like anytime you have people arguing about things, I love it, and I love it for a few different reasons. A, it means that they're passionate, right? They want the right thing, right? They want it to be correct, right? All of us want to get to a very similar space, but the method of getting there might be a little bit different, right? And so I really appreciated the conversations that came out of that. Now, we also have a lot of folks on the boards who, and of course they've been around for a long time, so they have a lot of kind of stubborn sort of thoughts about things, and that's good too. But what's really cool is that even through all of those crazy times and difficultness, right? There were very few times where there was like personal attacks, right?
Right.
It was constructive, and at the end of the day, a lot of those folks who had ideas that were contrary to when it first started, those ideas changed, right?
Yes.
It was super constructive. We had to go through that growing pain to get to where we are now. And that growing pain, it's affecting the entire industry.
Yes.
Right? You go to the islands, what are they talking about right now? They're talking about not selling 2-day, right? They're talking about making sure that they're not going to be selling leaves and nodes of kava plants, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going, oh, actually, we should be selling just the root, and it should be noble root, and we should be testing it, and we need to be punishing people for not following those things. Mm-hmm. That came out because of the topics that came up on the Kava forums, because of True Kava, because of all these things. So, I mean, that's a huge thing, right? That's a huge thing. You should be proud of that.
I am proud of it. I asked Judd. I was talking to Judd one time, and I said, Judd, do people in South Pacific know about us? He's like, oh, you don't want to know. So I know they know about us. So that's great. That's Kava Forums has pushed a bunch of good things, and it's caused a bunch of movements, and it's been an honor to have that space, to provide that space for that to happen. I cannot tell you how many times the 2-day threads, I was just like, should I shut this down? Should I shut this down? I think we need to talk about this. I think we need to keep going. Like my every time I thought about it, every time it kept coming up in my head, I was like, we're not going to get anywhere unless we hash this out, unless we know where we're sitting, where we stand, all of us. And that's how that kind of went that way. But it's really awe inspiring, and it's humbling to see the effects that Kava Forums had on people. When somebody tells me, hey, I spend most of my time on Kava Forums and on Facebook, I'm like, what have I done? What's going on here? I mean, those sort of things, they mean a lot to me. I take all of this stuff very seriously, and Kava is a very serious part of my life. And I mean, I guess if it weren't serious, we wouldn't be talking right now. But Kava it's been the driving force. I mean, it's been me for the past 10 years. I mean, I love it so much that it's just kind of wormed its way into my life to the point where, you know, it's all pretty much in my spare time. It's Kava Forums or Kava Forums. I'll open up a tab and close Kava Forums and open Kava Forums up. So, you know.
Yep. It's awesome. So what is the future like for Kava Forums?
Well, let's see. The immediate future is we're doing little things, maybe sprucing up the templates with Kava Forums, but not too much planned in terms of like restructuring or anything. Right now, we're just kind of adding to and just going through the motions of the of moderating and all that good stuff. But I have a feeling we're about to come up on a good batch of Credum talk here shortly. So
Yep.
it's always good to look forward to. I mean, I don't know. I look forward to it in a way that's like, do I look forward to seeing a car crash? No. When I drive up on it, no. But I'm gonna look, you know, like I don't know. That's about the only analogy I know of that.
So through time, right? You create the Kava Forums. You have all these guys join up who are super neat. You know, you create the Knock 'em All chat. You create the marketplace. You create the reviews. You create not necessarily you, but your group, right, has created all this stuff. You know, the Kava kind of, I can't remember what you call it. Is it Kava dictionary? You know, all sorts of stuff. You got so many. What?
The Kavapedia.
That's right, the Kavapedia. There's so many resources on the Kava Forums. And I imagine that you're quite open to anything that members have, right? If they have a good idea.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's a community driven website. If you got something you think would work great for Kava Forums, bring it on. Like I mean, 90% of the things that we do are suggestions anyway. So like, yeah, sure. I'd love to take on people's suggestions. It's a fun thing to do. Kava Forums is fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then what is the future like for Jimmy?
A whole lot more working. Computers, maybe going to Hawaii and maybe visiting Chris and visiting Ed Johnson maybe.
What I just heard is that you are biased and you only like gourmet Hawaiian kava. That's what I heard. I heard.
I mean, just shut it off. Just Alt F4 right now. Done.
You're done, Jimmy. I'm taking you down.
Exposed. But yeah, I want to go see him. I've never seen a live kava plant. That's been one of my life goals, is to actually like touch and see a live kava plant. You know, something that's given so much to me. I'd like to actually physically see it. But I just put a big deposit of Litecoin down, see if we can make some money and maybe get enough to go out to Hawaii next year or something and spend a few weeks out there.
Great. Sounds good. Well, good stuff. Well, Jimmy, I really appreciate you joining us today. I think that I think the world of you and your forums, and I think that everyone owes a lot to you who have anything to do with Kava, whether you're a vendor or just a regular old Joe Schmo. The forums are the best resource online for anybody, right? There's a few others out there that are starting to pick up the pace a little bit. The subreddit r Kava is starting to become a nice place. Definitely, you don't get the same feedback. You don't have the same quality posts that you'd see on Kava Forums, but there are some out there that are starting to pick up the pace a little bit. But the Kava Forums are really, where you got to go, right? So
post on our Kava.
That's right. Yeah. Go post on our Kava. Why not, right? I do it. I like it. So I know you're not going to say it, so I'm going to say it for you. Go donate to Kava Forums. I'm going to put a link in the comments and in the description. Donate. I know you pay for it. It might not be a whole lot. It might be a lot. I don't know. I don't care. I think you deserve it. So whoever is watching this, pay $5 over to Kava Forums. You won't regret it. What? Yeah, that's right. Buy
Buy me
Michelle.
and
That's
all my employees that don't get paid.
that's right. That's right. Well, good stuff. Well, again, thank you so much. We'll be in touch. If anybody has any questions for Jimmy, you can go ahead and throw it in the comments. You could ask on the Kava forums. If you have any questions for me, you can ask on the Kava forums. You can ask in the comments, whatever you want. We're here to help you out. We're here to, again, create and foster a great community. So this is just another extension of that. So thank you again, Jimmy. Appreciate it. And we will. Actually, before we do this, any last thoughts, Jimmy? Any last thoughts?
Buy Noble Kava and buy it from a reputable vendor who knows what they're doing and knows what they're selling. And if you have any questions whatsoever, the Kava Forums are always here 24 hours a day to answer those questions. If I'm not there 24 hours a day, I'm there between 7 and 4 every day, all day long. So we'll be there.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, Bula, Jimmy, thank you.
Bula.
And we will see you on the flip side.
All right. See you, Morgan.